It wasn't the most pretty of matches, but a win is a win for Manchester United, and it is enough to have them in fourth position, 3 points ahead of Chelsea and Liverpool as it stands right now after 27 games played. It also sees them going back to winning ways after that draw against West Ham last time out. Mario Melchiot and Don Hutchison are joining us now. Let me kick things off with you though, Craig. What does this result tell us?
Shall I go down the road of what some of our lot are saying about the Premier League and how strong it is? Man United, this Man United team are in fourth. They're in fourth. They've had a great run. That's how strong this Premier League is. An average performance, but a great result. You know, West Ham apart where they dropped some points. It could have been, I think, 5 from 5, is it? Or something like 6 from 6. I can't remember exactly. But it's been a really good start. We saw a little clip of Jason Wilcox and I think Omar Barada behind the scenes clapping at the end of the game from the main stand at Everton, because really this has released some pressure for now on the board. The board that sacked Ruben Amorim and were sort of staggering around with nowhere to go, going to hire Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That was stupid. Maybe going to give Michael Carrick the job. Nobody really else out there. Go with Carrick. And then they sit back and go, we don't know what's going to happen. And it has been, in terms of results and performances early on, it's been very good. But in terms of results, it's been brilliant. They're very much now in the fight for the Champions League places. If I was Liverpool, I would be worried. If I was Chelsea, I'd be concerned. If I was Man United, I would be buoyant about my chances, particularly from where they were early in the season. So yeah, it wasn't. Listen, it was a game you would turn this game off in a flash. If you've DVR'd this game, get home and delete it. That's how bad it was. But that's what Everton can do to you. They're a team they're not attractive. They'll fight and scrap. They'll try and defend. They don't create a lot, and they try and make the game scrappy. And they did all that. And I think United found that a little bit tough. But Michael Carrick will be delighted with the result, more so than I would say the performance.
Yeah. When you look at this run of results, Mario, and you see that they're in fourth right now, would you bet against them keeping that top 4 spot come the end of the season?
No, I wouldn't. I think also because, you know, we played the game also and we know how it works. When a new man comes in, everybody gets some new energy, and I think that is one of the key parts. And also, of course, I think Carrick already, he changed the system and everything is going better for the club. And what Craig said, he's right. You know, like you're watching a team now, they're in the up, but they still got to fix it because, you know, they had a massive crack. He comes in, he glues the crack a little bit, but the crack is not fixed yet. So they have to make a decision in what they're going to do in the future, because eventually you have a team that's building. Let's say the team gets to the Champions League. You also have to remember that this is a club that always attracts people and attracts players, and individuals want to go there. And they have to make sure that they either back on that track and making sure that they become that giant club that it's always been in England. And I think not making it to the Champions League, that will be a big loss. So that's why I think they will make it.
The results, though, they definitely are back on track right now, Don.
They are, Kay. 5 wins and 6, unbeaten in 6. I think what you've took from tonight is not a lot, apart from Sesko scoring again. I thought the goal they scored was a brilliant goal. I thought he ran off the back of Tarkowski. Tarkowski was running and treacle and couldn't catch him. But that's the form since Michael Carrick's been in the job, and you have to say he's the front runner. I mean, I wouldn't be in a rush to, you know, give him the job after what's happened to previous managers when they've been in this position, but you know, he's turned the players around. He's made it simple for them. He's putting them in their best positions in terms of Luke Shaw and Bruno Fernandes. Crystal Palace up next at home, so you'd fancy they'd win that. Chelsea, as Craig said, will be a bit concerned. They've got Arsenal and Villa, so there's tough games ahead. Liverpool have got a little bit of a clear run in the next couple. I think they play, West Ham next, then Wolves, then Tottenham at home. So the fixtures, when you try and navigate who's going to be where in a few weeks' time, you feel as though United and Chelsea have got hard fixtures because, as I said, they've got difficult games down the road. But it's how do you rely on Liverpool after what we saw at the weekend? So you look at Man United, if you're trying to pinpoint who's going to get that fourth, I think it'll be Man United, and then I think it's a 50-50 shootout between Chelsea and Liverpool.
If I'm Ruben Amorim, I'm sitting, whether he's watching or not, whether he's still in Manchester or he's back in Portugal, I don't know. But he'll be seeing the results, whether he's watching the games or not. He knows the results. And he can't be sitting comfortable. He can't be sitting thinking, well, Carrick's just been lucky. Maybe he does think that, I don't know. But he must be thinking, I need to look myself in the mirror. Did I get it right at United? Was I too stubborn?
Yeah.
Did I make the right decisions? Did I just keep harping on about he can't do this and he can't do that and my system this? And he's got to be sort of sitting thinking that, because I know we have these sort of new manager bounces and all that sort of stuff, but there's a little bit more to it than that. We've discussed this before. A back four, Mino in, Fernandes further forward, round pegs and round holes, not round pegs and square holes. Good substitutions at good times. Early on in the first couple of games, it was Cunha coming on, making a difference. Then Dorgu's been injured. Cunha has started the last 2 or 3 games. Sesko's been coming on, making an impact. So he's made an impact not only with his team selection, but his substitutions. And that's one of the key to management. It's not just picking a team. Anybody can pick a team, right? Anybody can pick a team. One manager said to me before, he says, Craig, the most difficult thing about being a manager and a coach is making in-game decisions to affect the game. Because maybe the opposition are doing something different, or maybe they're doing something particularly well. And then you can't just sit there and say, well, I picked a 4-3-3 and that's it. Or I picked a 3-5-2 and that's it. You have to then make these little subtle in-game changes to affect that game, to make the difference. And I think, to be fair to Michael Carrick, he has done that. He's made those changes in games that have been a little flat, that have made the difference. And if I was Man United at the moment, I'd feel really good about this top 4. You're right, Don, to talk about the fixtures Liverpool have, but I think the bigger story is actually Liverpool themselves. I don't think there's an easy fixture in the Premier League at the moment for this Liverpool side. And I think the first 45 minutes at the City Ground against Nottingham Forest encapsulated that. And who's to say that's not going to be that's just not going to, recur again and again and again for Liverpool? At the moment, I would be really fearing of this Liverpool side's ability to get in the top 4. And Andy Slot was asked about it, Kay, a couple of weeks ago. He says, would it be, what was the word that they used? Would it be acceptable? And he said no. He said no, would not be acceptable. And so if it's not acceptable to him, it might not be acceptable to the Liverpool board. So it's going to be a big end to the season for Liverpool. Yeah. Trust me.
Absolutely. When you talk about that in-game management, you mentioned Sesko once again. And Mario, we saw once again him scoring, proving to be a super sub. Is he saying to Michael Carrick, can I start now, please, boss?
I mean, look. As a player, I think you should never be happy to be on the bench. And I think he's one of that. But we also have to remember how he started, right? He came in and we expected a lot. Then it's gone cold for him and it was kind of difficult for him. You could see that he had to adapt. And now I feel like when I watch him, especially after today's game, I saw his confidence. You understand? You see that the confidence is coming. And we all know when strikers score, they become different humans. When they don't score, oh my God, you don't want them around you because they are so moody. So for him now, I could see the spark of confidence and also the players around him that they want to put him in. Mbeumo is like one of the key guys in their team. But for him then to hit the break, and then you see Sesko coming after, that is like what strikers are good at. They normally anticipate what is going to happen. And finally we start seeing that because that's what he needs. You have some key strikers who sometimes lose that when they don't do well. And now you can see his confidence is building. That's why the break was on, he follows him up, and he drops the ball short and then he puts it in. Great, good technique. I saw the striker, yeah. No, I think he's growing, definitely. The
problem is for him, if you come off the bench, Mario, like he did against West Ham and scored a great goal, a wonder goal really, which really didn't match up with the rest of his performance when he came off the bench, because his control, Sesko, at West Ham when he came on was atrocious. And then he scores this great goal, and it was a great goal. Comes on tonight again, scores another very good goal. It was a pretty simple finish, but he had to keep his head down and finish it. So if I'm Michael Carrick, I'm saying, look, you're 22, know you want to play, but you're making a big difference coming off the bench. And also, as Mario mentioned, United like Mbeumo's pace to run in behind. They like the fact that he will stretch teams when, all right, couldn't really do it tonight because there wasn't a lot of space. But generally, and United are not frightened to go long to Brian Mbeumo, even if it's from Lamens, the goalkeeper. If teams are pressing United, I've seen them do it at Old Trafford. When teams press them, they're not frightened to go back to Lamens, and he launches it. He launches it and tries to launch it in the channels, and then Mbeumo will run in there. and he's key to United doing that. So I don't really see that changing anytime soon. But in terms of Sesko coming off the bench and making an impact, it's the perfect scenario really for the United manager.
So talking about the United manager, Don, what do Manchester United do? Do they wait to the end of the season to make a decision on whether it should be Michael Carrick to stick around?
Yeah, I think they will, but I think even Michael summed it up himself. He got asked the question about 10 days ago and he said no, he said the club should wait. He's a very honest guy, Michael, and just going off the back of the Sesko conversation there, he'll be wanting Sesko to bang down his door. You put it quite nicely and quite politely there when you said, please can you play me boss? But when players knock on a door, it's not exactly how they phrase it. And after he scored the goals that he scored, he should be knocking on the manager's door, asking to start. And Michael would appreciate that, and Michael would welcome that. He said himself in terms of the job, he said, the board should wait, Sir Jim Radcliffe and Ineos should wait. They have to wait till the end of the season. They're not daft. They've made some daft decisions in the past, in the recent past, but they're not going to be forced into looking at a manager's 6 or 7 games and thinking, right, he's the man for the job. If he keeps on winning and they stay undefeated and he gets him in the Champions League, I honestly think he'd be favourite for it.
I think, Xhaka made a point, a very good point actually, albeit he's laying a sun lounger in Trinidad as we speak.
Conveniently.
Conveniently. He's not bothered to come back. Oh, there's a lot of snow.
Is he back?
No, he's not back.
The old flight got cancelled, didn't it, on his birthday, Don?
What do you think I'm doing here, Don?
I know, I see that.
Today I'm Xhaka. But he made a great point the other week.
Glue.
He made a great point the other week. He says, regardless of what happens with Michael Carrick, United have been such a mess with decision-making that they have to be ruthless. And even if it means Carrick does this great job, but they feel they have a much better candidate, whether it be Thomas Tuchel or whoever it is. And that's all subjective at the moment and hypothetical. But if that is the case, and they have somebody with a CV and an experience and a track record that is much better than Michael Carrick, then that's the decision that they have to make. And I think that was the point Xhaka was making. We can't make these sort of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Are they running out of that guy, though, Craig, are they running out of that guy? Because Thomas Tuchel's just signed a new...
Yeah, but once England have a disastrous World Cup...
Ancelotti's just about to sign a new 4-year deal.
World Cup, yeah, Don.
Yeah, but once
true, but I mean, are these guys... Yeah, no, I take your point, but I'm just thinking Man United have gone through so many managers like Jose, like Van Gaal, like Amorim, who've put their titles on the table and said, look, this is what I'll bring.
Yeah.
And they've not exactly delivered, so why wouldn't it be Michael?
Well, it might be that, but because it hasn't worked once or twice doesn't mean it won't sort of work again. I don't know. There's no easy answer for this Man United job, and you are right. There's a difficulty here. We've discussed this on the show, and I think Mark Ogden in particular has written a piece or two on the FC website about the balancing act of waiting to see how this goes, and then missing out on potential other managers. Because let's be honest. They're not the only club going to be looking for a manager. Chelsea may be looking, who knows what's going to happen with Rosinha. Tottenham will be looking. OK, they haven't got the pull of Man United, but they will be looking. Maybe Man City will be looking in the summer for a manager.
Yeah.
If Guardiola, if it falls apart and he says, oh, Arsenal are too strong, I've had enough of this, I've got this 115 charges, all this, I'm packing it in. That's just 3 or 4 clubs in England alone. Never mind before you get to Spain, Italy, Germany and the rest. So there is a danger in playing the waiting game. And I wouldn't want to be, guys, I wouldn't want to be this United board who have made, and listen, this board are not, they're not culpable for all the mistakes that have been made, but they've certainly made some. Amorim and the Ten Hag new contract was a disaster. And they're in a position now, Mario, I suppose, where the next decision is probably the biggest decision they're going to have since they arrived at this club and put that money in.
Yeah, but Craig, if we look at them now, right? Don't we expect a team like that to have a prep? They give us the feeling that they're not even prepped to let this situation happen to them. Normally, we were talking about Man United. Man United, how can, I give an example, a Bradford and a Brighton, they always have a list of 5, 6 managers that they can pull something from. And Man United, I have a feeling, I know there is timing. I know timing is important because sometimes the one that you want is not available. But still, you have to have your list and say, these are more potential guys that I'm going to go after. And if this one comes up in the situation, I might have to adjust it. And they don't give me the feeling at the moment that they know exactly what they are planning. It feels more like, okay, Carrick comes and takes the job, does a great job for them, and now we are talking about, okay, are you going to let him go? Are you going to keep him? Okay, we know what happened to Solskjaer. Okay, then they end up giving him the job. But now, also as a coach, I don't know how Carrick, he might comes out nicely, like how Don said, but would you want to wait that long? No, I want to, after a while, I also want to know what's happening, because sometimes managers show them the smile, but it's not always what they think. So I don't know, what is it, 11 or 12 more games? I'm sure he wants to know what his future is going to be like.
It's not just it's not just the recruitment on the manager side, Mario. If you think about it, it's the recruitment on the player side as well. It's not just about, and it shouldn't just about being gone out and spending 100 million or 70 million or 65 million on a player every time. Yeah. You look at what other clubs, certain other clubs are doing, particularly Brighton and Brentford and one or two others, who've sold all their best players, but seem, on the face of it, with their data-driven, I think it's data-driven for the most part, but a good recruitment policy and a good scouting system, going out and finding the Caicedos. And, you know, don't forget, Basuma was at Brighton, Caicedo was at Brighton, McAllister was at Brighton. The list goes on. You know, these clubs are going out and signing these players. They're ready to pounce once they sell their players. United have to be in that position as well. It cannot just be about trying to go out and splurge 200 or 300 million every summer to fix the problem. There has to be a balance between signing good quality, expensive players and going out and finding hidden gems and then bringing them into the team, and you sit back and go, wow, what a signing that is. Other clubs seem to do that better, not just in United, than some of the big clubs who seem the clubs with more money, who seem more fixated to me in just being able to go out and spend that money rather than finding these players. I think some of the other Premier League clubs, and I throw Bournemouth into that ring as well, who have just sold 3 or 4 top quality players. Why are the real big money, the real big heads in the Premier League, why are they not finding these players? Why are they waiting for the smaller clubs to get these players, and then they go in and they spend a fortune to bring them to their club? If that was me, I'd be saying,
it's because they got the money, Greg.
Yeah, but where is
they got the money, that's why they're doing it. It's not smart.
But where's their scouting system, though, to go and find these players in the first place? Yeah. Why are they leaving these players? It's a bit like Virgil van Dijk at Liverpool. You know, people say, well, there was a great bit of business from Liverpool. What are you talking about? Celtic signed him from Groningen, as you well know, for a pittance. Southampton signed Van Dijk from Celtic because all the clubs in England were saying, oh, he can't play in England because the Scottish League's terrible. And then Liverpool pay, I think it was a world record fee. So I think the bigger clubs, and I include Man United in this, their recruitment of low-cost, unheard-of players has to be better.
Yes.
Absolutely.
There'll be more talk about Manchester United.
We might have sort of digressed there.
That's okay. It's Manchester United talk.